about automation of business processes. If you can give your thoughts on, share your thoughts around how you're going about it, what challenges you're facing, and what's next in that area. Are you looking at emerging technologies, the business use cases of the same?
Look at it from the perspective of not just current but a future readiness perspective. So that's something that we are doing. I think it is also very important to look at uh, uh, at least move out certain key processes which are critical to the organization but more mundane in nature into someone can do that on an ongoing basis. So that's something that we've been looking at. From a future readiness perspective also, I think multiple technologies we are looking at. We are already working in terms of our dashboarding from ClickView to ClickSense and Power BI. So that's something that we are doing on a continuous basis. We are also working with some of the RPAs and essentially looking at multiple other processes that can transition into RPAs. So that's also something that we are looking at. Again, on the business side and on the let's say production and manufacturing side also, given that we are a large manufacturing that comes out of our systems and processes and analyzing it appropriately, putting up appropriate sensors, machine learning, and AI being built into various processes is something that we are looking to do over a period of time.
I were to challenge you and request you to look at, let's say, 3 years henceforth, right? Finance organization which you currently have versus an organization which is going to be 3 years later, right? I'm sure the business would have increased, complexity in the business would have increased, the role of finance would have transformed. Any thoughts which you have around, what's the kind of organization would you have?
One essential element that this current change is driving is thought processes around analytics, and these are not just analytics around business processes. I think analytics and data, which is essentially available in our ERP systems, to be able to leverage that appropriately. Today, what we are doing is we are just mining that data, and whatever is required from that data perspective, we are using it for our own resources. I think over a long period of time, I think the most important change that is going to happen is to look at analytics around the data, make that data talk to some mega trends, and think of it in terms of how that data can help you taking better business decisions. That is driving the future is all related to technology, right? The cost of service providers today is going up at a pace which is pretty phenomenal, right? And you being in the IT industry know that better than I do, that the amount of resources and the amount of uh, let's say people need for this has gone up significantly, which has also led to the cost of these things increasing significantly. My essential worry is that with all of these costs going up very, very significantly, it could act as a derailer, or it could probably uh, end up in a position where people say, this is not an essential, right? The cost is becoming so prohibitive that you don't want to do certain things that are good to do. So you will only then start to look at the change which is essential rather than good to do also. Analytics is becoming the most key, and all future ready organizations have already started to work on it. I do believe that with appropriate data and management and putting in appropriate artificial intelligence and machine learning, you will be in a position to do better predictions, better supply chain management, better let's say DSO DPO management is something that you will be able to do better over a period of time. And as that goes on, I think it will get embedded into your systems and processes, which will lead to better decision making, and therefore the role of the CFO should be let's say enhancing over even in the short to the long run as well. uh, I think there will also be a significant change in terms of organizationally looking at compliance, which is also key and an important element of it, and automating some of those compliance requirements as well. We've done some portions of it, but I think there is a long way to go in terms of managing compliance better. That happen, but today I believe the intention is to set up that data pool, is set up that data lake, and then be able to draw appropriate inferences from the data at the opportune time.
Are you also looking at that as crack teams within the company, which is looking at tech plus ops together, or how you're looking at it?
To have cross-functional, cross-business teams with, let's say, IT support and support in terms of what we are doing from a process management perspective to be able to better this out. Again, I think where we lack as an organization, and also probably more, let's say, widespread in other large organizations also, is doing the project, completing it, but then not re-looking at it in terms of the benefit that it was. Always be projects that will have to be looked at from a ROI perspective, right? And there will always be projects that will have to be looked at from purely a betterment perspective, purely a long-term positioning perspective.